Microphone on, my box, my hair, my earrings. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to White Sparrow Living, Luke 12:6. I'm Wendy, and on today's episode, it's another round of the Mystery Box Challenge, where a bunch of us creators here on YouTube send each other boxes of goodies. And every month, this is sponsored by Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. And that's who I sent my box to. So when you're done here, I don't know, there's a playlist down below, so it goes in a certain order, but it's a nice big circle of love and creativity you definitely don't want to miss. This month, my box came from Jennifer over a little bit of Calm and Crazy, so we'll see what she sent to me. So for this month's twist, the challenge items, one of them had to have something to do with automobiles, and the second one had to be something that started with one of the letters from the word Grinch. So something with either a G, R, I, N, C, H. You see what I'm saying? So I'm super excited to see what Jennifer sent. Okay, I lost my glasses. I usually have them on my head. Okay, so let's see. Wendy, happy holidays. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Wait, it's not Thanksgiving yet. And that you have an amazing Christmas. I cannot wait to see what all you make with the items in this box. If you don't like the challenge items, blame Courtney. Honestly, I know you will crush them. Merry Christmas, Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer, let's see what you got. Okay, well we are off to a great start. It says, just a little treat for you while you craft. Oh yeah, Jennifer. She knows me well. Now, one of the things that Courtney said was we could only do 8 Dollar Tree items for a total of 10. That was Lola. Are you comfy, Lola? So a total of 10 items, including the 2 challenge items. No more, no less. So we are starting with, oh cute, some red little ornaments. I love these so much. This is like old day stuff. This adorable little pail in red. These are working for my colors. I have a round craft box, cutie patootie. We've got some candy cane ribbon. Ooh, some pretty ornament filler. I have not seen those. That's really pretty. Some red letters, you know, like in the Bible, the red letters. These are cute. I have not seen these either. These adorable little gingerbread tags. I think we have a theme for this video. Ooh. And then we have our 2 challenge items. Okay, but then look at this. This could not be from Dollar Tree. No, this is from someplace else. Oh, is this? I guess this is Dollar Tree Plus. We don't have a Dollar Tree Plus. I don't think we're going to get one either, but look at this beautiful tray for $5. Oh, super cute. So challenge item number 1. Oh, this wrapping paper is super cute too. Okay, well this is sweet of her. It's the super soft microfiber cloth. That should be, oh, because that has to do with the automobiles. Okay, very good, Jennifer. Okay, challenge item 2. Now this one should start with a G, R, I, N, C, or H. Well, let's see what she did. And also part of that twist was that it has to be something a little difficult to craft with. Okay, I'm kind of scared. Ow! She got me the mini solo cups. Okay, well that is going to be fun. Again, in red. I will be back in a jiffy to see what we come up with and get our crafting on. And now, without further ado, let's get started. That was so lame. For this first Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be using this crate, and I was going to use some solo cups, but I don't have to use that one in this project. But I am going to use this craft box, and I'm going to get 3 more of them because I'll need a total of 4. And then I'm also going to use a Dollar Tree cutting board, this little mini cutting board, a shower curtain ring, and a plunger handle. So I got 3 more of these little craft boxes, but I thought it would be cute to show you. If you want to make this 4-wheel drive, you can use the bottoms. We're going to be using just the tops. So first I'm going to paint my crate using some crimson in apple barrel acrylic paint and some chalk paint. I mixed those together just so that it's not quite so dark as it is with just the chalk paint. And then I'm using a smaller brush to get in between those little nooks and crannies of my crate. So basically just cutting it in before I use my larger paintbrush in the style of Annie Sloan. This is one that Michael J got me from Amazon after my Annie Sloan paintbrush kind of died on me. So it's still alive, but it's just barely hanging on. So I'll have these linked in my Amazon store because they really are super fast when you're painting something kind of big. And then I'm going to take my little cutting board and I'm going to paint that with my ink chalk paint in black. And I'll also paint my plunger handle as well as the 4 lids that will become our tires. We're going to be making a sweet little Christmas wagon, and originally I had planned to use my little solo cups as what would hold the wagon part up because I didn't think these wheels would be technically strong enough to hold it up. But I guess my engineering gene kicked in and I was able to take some Jenga pieces, and I'll show this to you in just a second, but I came up with the idea afterwards and you'll see that too, but I'm going to paint those black so they don't show from underneath. And you'll need a total of 8 of these. So here's where I originally had glued down my solo cups, and I was going to leave this out, but I know some of you always comment that you like to see my oopsies, and I would have had to have explained why you're going to see some glue gun rings when I take them off afterwards anyway. So now I'm going to take my Jenga pieces and I hot glued them on the top and bottom on the inside of my wheels, but originally I was just going to do the one, and that was why I needed the solo cups, but then I thought, well, I might as well do 2 and they'll be more secure and they hold up the crate just fine. So after my paint was dry, I'm going to use my sandpaper and I'm going to sand that all down to give it some rustic, old looking edges and just give it more of that farmhouse look. So you have 70-11 options here of what to put on the sides of your wagon. You could use these little pop-up stickers. I was going to use 'Tis the Season to Be and then write in Jolly on that second plank of my wagon. But I know not everybody likes to use their own handwriting. Maybe you don't have a cutting machine. There was also this really cute Season's Greetings one. I like that one too. But ultimately, you'll see what I end up doing. You could also use a stencil and paint something on there, but well, I'll show you when we get there. So to attach my wheels, I took the Jenga piece and I've glued it on one side. I messed up before. You don't put them both on at the same time. You'll attach one, and then once that one's on, add your second Jenga piece so that you make sure that your tires are level. So I ended up using a couple of Dollar Tree Noel ornaments, and I marked the in-between, or like where the slats are spread apart, and made a mark so that I would know not to put any glue in there. That way it won't seep in through the inside. But whatever you do decide to put on the side of your wagon, you just want to make sure that it is going to fit between your 2 big old wheels. So now I'm going to take some hot glue and I'll attach my cutting board to the bottom side of my wagon. And this is going to kind of be like our hitch, where we're going to attach our plunger that will become our handle. So now I'm going to figure out what angle and how long I want my handle to be. So I'm going to miter it outside. But you can rest it on that front edge of the wagon, and then that way there won't be a lot of weight on it. So if you're just using hot glue, that'll be real secure by leaning against that. So I took it outside and gave it an angled miter cut. And then I'm going to take some Christmas greenery from the Dollar Tree, and this is just coming out of my scrap bin. I'm going to hot glue that to the front part of my wagon. You could do this on the back too. That would be really cute. But I thought this would the angle that you would be seeing it more. So I'm going to put the greenery on the front and a perky bow, and then I'll add my handle. So to make my perky bow, I'm just going to use the fold over method, and I'm taking it and rolling it over about, actually I did 4 loops on one side and 5 on the other, or I forget what I did now, but it wasn't even because both of the tails were going the same direction. So I always get lost, and you can see here. But I had a viewer say that I needed to slow down on my bow making so that she didn't have to go searching for a bow making video. So that's what I'm doing here. After I rolled it over, however many times you want to make it, I'm going to make little snips with my scissors, going in a teeny tiny bit, but enough so that I can take my chenille stem and wrap it inside of those little snips, so that when I move my loops, they'll turn and twist and move however you want them, and you can get a nice perky bow where the loops will stay in whatever position you want them to be. Does that make sense? And then for the edges of my ribbon, I'm going to dovetail those by folding the ribbon in half and then cutting that at an angle. And then using that excess chenille stem, and that's why I used black, I'm going to wrap that around my hitch of my wagon. So now I'm going to attach my handle to the wagon, and I'm going to be using some permanent adhesive as well as some hot glue, but right here is where you would need to put either a screw or a nail or a brad, something if you wanted to make this a little more secure. And then once I get my handle on, I'm going to add some more greenery to fill in the blank spots. And then at the end of my handle, I needed to paint that. I forgot to paint it for some reason. And then I wrapped my shower ring with some jute twine. I actually had this before. And then you can take a flame from a lighter and just singe off all of those flyaways from that jute twine. And then we'll hot glue that to the end of our plunger handle. And then you can add whatever you want inside of your wagon. I'm using some Dollar Tree boxes in some black and red buffalo check, and I think they're super cute, but stack whatever you want. You can put greenery or trees. The possibilities are endless. But anyway, I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. For this project, I'm going to be using our challenge item, the car chamois, and 2 placemats from Dollar Tree. And all I'm going to do on this one, I guess this is kind of predictable, but I'm going to turn my placemat over on the wrong side and then trace out something like a stocking. And then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than my stocking is going to be, because when I hem it on the inside, it'll be smaller when I turn it inside out. You'll see what I mean in just a second. And then once I get my shape cut out, I'm going to take it and put it onto the other side and then cut that one out as well. Now I'm going to take some fabric adhesive, and I get this at Walmart, and I'm just going to go along the right side of my stocking on one and outline it, leaving myself a pretty good hem so that when I turn it inside out, it's nice and strong. And then I'll place the other one right on top. Again, the wrong side out, or the bottom side of my placemat is on the outside. And I'm going to make sure that that completely dries. So I left that overnight. And then I'm going to turn it inside out, or this would be right side out, I guess. And if there's any places that didn't attach, I'm going to use my hot glue gun to close those areas up. So as you can see, I'm doing this as a no-sew project, but if you want to pull out your sewing machine, just do the exact same thing where I'm using the glue. You would know that because if you have a sewing machine, you know. Anyway, so now we're going to add our chamois, and I'm just cutting out a strip and I'm going to hot glue that to the top. I cut it a little bit further than the top of my stocking because once I glue it down, I'm going to tuck in that extra inside of my stocking. So I decided to leave the finished edge at the bottom so I didn't have to hem it or glue it. And also I left the side edge that was finished on the outside so it kind of looked like a cuff or something. So I decided to embellish that little cuff using a big button, and then I took a Dollar Tree snowflake ornament to match the fabric and then attach that to the side of the cuff. So now I'm going to take some paper and just tuck that inside of my stocking so that it looks a little more three-dimensional and not so flat. And then I'm going to take some Dollar Tree Christmas greenery and some pretties and just tuck that inside. And then at the end, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree snowflake and tuck it in there as well to go along with that snowflake theme. And then finally, I'm going to take the edging or the cord of the placemat that I cut off to make my stocking and make that into a loop, and then hot glue that to the inside of my stocking in the back, and that becomes our hanger. And here it is all finished, and I think this turned out so pretty. If you were going to use these for your family stockings, you probably would want to sew them so that they last a lot longer and you don't have to worry about any seams opening. And also any placemat will work because you see the size is just about right. So that opens up a whole lot of pretty options for you to choose from. Now, if you do it the way that I used it, I also like to hang these on cabinet doors or things with glass in the front where you might not want to decorate entirely for Christmas. So if you just hang something like this on the knob, it helps transform your room into Christmas without having to do extra work. I love it, and I hope you guys like it too. For this next project, I'm going to be using the candy cane ribbon and the adorable little gingerbread ornaments that Jennifer sent. I'm also going to use a gingerbread cutout from the Dollar Tree as well as a cookie sheet. So on this little gingerbread man, we're going to turn him into a girl, and I'm going to use my CRICUT spatula to take off his bow tie and his buttons. The bow tie was a little difficult to get off. I should have heated up the glue so that it would have come off a little bit easier. It did mess up the wood a little bit, and I was okay with that because not every cookie is perfect. So I'm going to paint my gingerbread lady with some burnt umber and white mixed together to make it a little bit lighter brown. And then on the pop-ups on the arms and at the legs, I'm going to paint those completely white using my chalk paint. And I did this on the back as well. And I like the look of the blended paint. So the white wasn't completely mixed in with the brown. There were some, areas of white. So I just think that looks like highlights and makes it more interesting. So I'm going to be placing a hat on our gingerbread lady, and I want to make sure that where I draw her face in, it's not going to get covered by her hat. So I'm just going to draw a little pencil line to make sure I stay below it. So I'm going to start with her cheeks, and I'm just taking some chalk from Stampin' Up! And then a little finger dauber, and I'm just going to blot on some rosy little cheeks in a circle. And then I'm going to take my black paint pen, and I looked online for some face options, and I'm just kind of copying one that I thought was pretty cute. I'll do the eyes and then the eyebrows. There's some little lashes there. And I thought this was really easy because then I could see where to put the smile, and it's just right under the little cheeks there. And then once that's completely dry, I'll go back with my white paint pen to give her some highlights. And I'm always so nervous about doing eyes and making sure they're the same, so I almost forgot her sweet little nose, so I just used some crimson chalk paint and then highlighted that as well. So now it's time to dress her up, and I'm cutting out little pieces from this fabric from the Dollar Tree, and it's a very small piece and it's very light, so I just let it stay doubled over. I didn't even iron it because I'm going to glue this all down and piece it together. I'm making hems using some hot glue and folding it where I need it to be, and then we'll put it all together. So for the skirt, I'm going to take a needle and thread and just do a basting stitch all the way through the top. And then before I gather it, this is going to be to gather her little skirt, but before I gather it, I'm going to flatten it out and make it flat, and then I'll put some of that sweet candy cane ribbon at the bottom with some hot glue. And then to gather it, I'm just going to pull that piece of thread and then make it to the, gathering that I want and then glue it on the back. Now I'm going to make the bib part, and I just made a little square and glued the sides on there, and then I'm going to tuck it under her skirt and then glue it onto her body. And I did want to make it longer, or I was going to make it to where it covered up that little part where I messed up the wood, but if I made it any taller, it wouldn't have looked like an apron, which we're making an apron here. And then I'll use some more of that candy cane ribbon to make the straps, and then again glue it onto the back. And we're making a little chef lady here. So then I took another piece, and that's going to be the belt, and that'll cover up all the thread where I gathered the skirt. So now for her hat, I'm going to take the doubled over fabric and then double it over again. So there's actually 4 layers of fabric, which is a little hard to cut through, but I'm just going to round that up and then kind of scrunch it in the middle. And then I'll glue that to the back of her head and then onto the front. But on the front, I'm going to just kind of, pleat it and get it mushy and look like a chef's hat. And then I'll come back with another piece to cover up all of the scrunchiness that I did at the front. And then to give it some more cuteness, I took a little piece of eyelet lace and I'm going to glue that to the top part of her bib of her apron. And then my original plan was to add a little red wooden heart from the Dollar Tree from Valentine's Day. I was going to put that on the front of her apron, but then I remembered I was going to use also a little spatula to put in her hand. And I had actually already put the glue onto the heart when I decided, wait a minute, I was nervous about having too much black on the spatula, so I was going to paint it, but then I thought if I just put the heart onto the spatula, it'll kind of tone down that black. And plus, when my grandmas would bake and my mom would bake, their most important ingredient was love, so I thought this was a cute addition. So now I'm going to take my white paint pen and give her the gingerbread outline that she should have had before she got dressed, but I completely forgot. So I just did it afterwards and went under my ribbon and my fabric, and if it's missing pieces, that's okay because cookies look like that anyway, right? So now I'm going to measure my cookie pan and see the area once she's attached. She's not attached now, but I just placed her there so I could get the right measurements. And then I went on to my CRICUT design space and found a really cute design, and I'm going to use some red vinyl to cut that out. I'll weed it all out and then put my transfer tape on top, pull off the backing sheet, and then attach it to my cookie pan. And because the cookie pan is so porous, you really need to make sure that wherever you touch, it's going to stick right there. So be sure you get it right the first time. So then I used a pencil to mark where she's going to be glued onto the pizza pan. And then that way I'll know where to put my hot glue and my permanent adhesive. And I want most of her on the little handle part of the side of the cookie pan so that there's a lot hanging on to the back of her. And then I'll attach my spatula in one hand, and then on the other hand, I'm going to attach one of the ornaments that I thought, this is how this all started, I thought they resembled little cookie sheets, and I think that's what they're trying to make it be. So anyway, I'm going to take the rest of my ornaments. I used some permanent adhesive and hot glue again, and then added little magnets to them. And now these can be used as little menu holders or recipe holders if you were so inclined to bake during the holidays. And here's how this one turned out, and I can't even handle the cuteness. I love her so much. And it's also functional, and you can hold your recipes on there with the magnets. This is one of my mom's famous recipes, her macaroni salad, and it's in her handwriting, which I love. And then you can take the extras and just put them on the side for decoration, or I don't know, maybe you have a lot of recipes. But I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. So now, speaking of mommies, I'm sure you know that Courtney lost her mom in 2021. And then to honor her legacy, every December, there's an additional component to Courtney's Mystery Box Challenge called Random Acts of Kindness, which her mom did all year long. So for my random act of kindness, and it's not really superly random, but my brother-in-law started an annual fundraising bowling tournament called Christmas for Kids, and it's happening this Sunday here in Bakersfield, California. And bowling is kind of a big deal for Michael J. and his brothers, and his brother John also founded a bowling tournament group called Central Valley Masters and kind of tied it in with the Christmas for Kids. And what they do is they raise money from like part of the tournament entry fees. They do a raffle and a silent auction for items donated from local businesses and private parties, friends, family, anywhere they can get them, really. And then with the funds raised, they actually take the kids shopping for their Christmas presents. I mean, they don't like take them, their parents take them, but a bunch of volunteers shop with them and pay at the register. So this will be the 7th year they've done it, and every year they raise more and more money so that they can help more and more families in need. So for my random act of kindness, I'm donating all of the projects I'm making in this video, and actually a bunch of others. You know, I have quite a few, but hopefully this will be the best fundraising year ever. For this next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm using the challenge item that Jennifer sent me, my solo cups, and then the ornaments, and then I'm using 3 of these wooden blocks. They have these at Dollar Tree also. They have like the blocks or the dice that are in wood about this size, so that would actually work better than these. But anyway, I'm just going to take my little solo cups and hot glue those, starting with the block and then going up, and then just put them one on top of the other. And then on my second one, I'm going to start with a block, do the 2 solo cups, add another block, and then continue up. So now these are going to be 2 different sizes, but the top cup is going to be where the bottom is at the top. So then I'm going to take my Apple Barrel Burnt Umber Brown acrylic paint, and I'm going to give these a couple of coats until they're nice and dark brown. And then I'm going to go back with my white chalk paint and give it that dry brush effect to make it look like some weathered wood. I'm trying to make these look like spindles, so you could use these for either candle holders or a tree, you know, the Christmas trees on top of the spindles. I did one a little bit lighter and one a little bit darker, but because I also wanted to use one of the items from my mystery box, I'm going to use those ornaments and put those on top of these. So to attach my ornaments, I'm going to take the little hangers out of the styrofoam, and then I'll cut that down to make it pretty flat so that it goes right on top of my spindle. And then I'll use my hot glue and some permanent adhesive and stick those right on top of my spindles. So then I'm going to take some Christmas greenery out of my scrap bin and attach that right under my ornament. And then I'll take a sweet little bow out of the candy cane ribbon and attach that right in the middle. And here they are, all finished, and I think these are so pretty. They look like candles, don't they? I think they do, but anyway, and I don't think anyone can tell that these are solo cups if you don't tell them. You guys know because you watched me make them, but I'm going to show you in a second what it looks like with the Christmas tree on top from Dollar Tree. I think that's such a pretty look, but I had put the permanent adhesive on there, and so it was really hard to get off, so I only did one because I was about to break these. Anyway, look how pretty this is. I don't know. I just love it, and I hope you guys like it too. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be using this sweet little red pot that Jennifer sent, and I'm going to pull out one side of the handle, and you kind of have to move it and finagle it out of there because it's bent inside. And then I'm going to take a little piece of mesh tubing from the Dollar Tree. This was a scrap I had left over from last year, but I'm going to just kind of feed it onto that handle. And it's a little bit tricky because the part that goes inside the side of the bucket, it will kind of pop out of those little holes in the mesh, but ultimately just be patient and you'll get it on there, and then just cut off the excess. So now I'm going to take a scrap piece of black felt, and I'm using a black rubber band, and I'm going to put that over the very top of my pail and pull it down nice and tight, and then cut off the edges of that felt or the excess. Just be careful not to cut your rubber band. So now I'm going to take a piece of scrap foam board, and I'm going to trace around the back part of my pot and then kind of go out and make it kind of like the shape of an egg. This is going to be the rim of this soldier hat. So well, I didn't tell you what we were making, but this is going to be a little tin soldier hat. So I'm just going to use my craft knife and get that all cut out. And then using the rest of my felt, I'm going to cover up that foam board. And then to get around the edges, I made little slits so that I can hot glue it down and push it over. And so it makes that nice curve. And then so there's no foam board showing, I'm going to cut another piece of felt out and glue that to the bottom. So now I'm going to take some of this Dollar Tree gold netting, and I'm going to use that to go around the top part of my hat and then tie it in the back. You don't even have to hot glue this, and then it'll go right over the little handles where the handles are on the side, and so it kind of drapes really nicely. So now I'm going to add some more cuteness with some Dollar Tree red. It's almost like a rickrack, but it's not. But it's also shiny and Christmas looking, so I thought it was pretty cute for this. And then I'm going to glue my pot onto my felt covered foam board. And then I forgot to hit record, but then I took another piece of that gold mesh and tied that around the bottom to cover up any glue. I actually did a pretty good job. I didn't have a lot of glue showing, but I wanted that gold down there anyway. And then I'm going to take some greenery from one of the Dollar Tree ornaments. I always take the greenery off, and this was the perfect time to use it. I added some gold berries, and then I'm going to take a little brooch from totallydazzled.com, or I don't even think that's what it's called. It's Totally Dazzled. Anyway, I'm going to put that right on top of his hat, and we are done. And here it is all finished, and I think it's adorable. I'll have to add it to a toy soldier themed tiered tray or something before I donate it. But I've seen a tree topper like this at Hobby Lobby for $30. So how cute would this be if it was supersized? Anyway, I love it, and I hope you guys like it too. I know this video is so long, you guys. There's so much jam-packed in here, but I couldn't go on without saying a happy anniversary to the love of my life, my Michael J. I love you so much, I could pop. So now it's time to use the final two items that Jennifer sent. These red felt numbers that I thought were letters. So Dollar Tree carries these sweet wooden birdhouses, and there were 4 different designs that I had found. So I had planned to do this project last year but ran out of time. And I love, love, love making advent calendars, and that requires 25 more of these. No, not 25 more, but 25 of these altogether. So I'm also going to use an old piece of foam board, which was a sign from when our daughter Kennedy played softball in high school. I think it said, "Hey, number 3 hit a home run for me." So thankfully the stickers were super easy to remove because there's just so many of them. And I'm just going to use my CRICUT spatula and get those off of the bottoms because the bottoms will show. So I had to figure out how I was going to build this based on how many of each design I had. And then once I drew it out, I could decide which colors to paint each level. And then to make sure I painted them the right color, I just put a piece of painter's tape on the back. And then that way I didn't get confused and have to repaint. So I started with my white chalk paint and added a little bit of burnt umber to it to make the lightest shade of brown. And then once I got those houses painted, I added some more brown for a medium shade, and then finally mixed even more brown to make the darkest shade. So I'm going to lay out my birdhouses layer by layer, and that way I can see what I'm working with and how it's going to fit on my board. And then I made a line right under the longest row, right above my trunk at the base of my tree, because making sure that row is perfectly level will help me keep the rest of my tree level. So now I'm going to add my numbers to my houses, and I just worked around those little pokey outy things on the front, I guess the perches or the birdie front porch, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you do this project or any advent calendar using these felt numbers, you will be short 3 number 1s. So you'll need 2 packs. I didn't have another one, so I just cut them out of some red felt. It doesn't match perfectly, but that's okay. And then using my white paint pen, I started doing the fun part of designing each of my houses and decorating them. So I really should have made my lightest shade of brown a little bit darker because the white lining doesn't show up very well, and especially not on camera. Plus my paint pens were kind of drying out and not as juicy because I've been using them a lot lately. So that's another oopsie that you can make better than mine. And then on the sides of the outside birdhouses, the ones that show, on the left and the right, I added the words, "Oh, come let us adore him," for some more cuteness and to add some more Jesus. So now I'm going to take this ornament filler, our very last item in Jennifer's box, and I'm going to give our houses a little sparkly embellishment by placing them here and there with a skewer and some glue. I wanted to bring in some more of that red to match the red numbers, and these worked perfectly to do that. So because the lightest birdhouses still weren't making my eyes very happy, I cut down some striped and polka dotted Dollar Tree Christmas straws. Actually, they could be Valentine's Day also, I'm not sure. But I'm just going to glue those onto the fronts of my birdhouses. So now it's time to attach these to the backboard, and I'm using my Dollar Tree permanent adhesive and some hot glue, and then lining up the bottoms of my birdhouses with that first line that we made, and then I'll just build on from there. So technically the rows aren't all sitting on each other. The security is from the backboard because that's what they're attached to. And then once they're all glued down, I used my utility knife to cut around the outline of my tree. And I went through a few blades because it really needs to be sharp to get through that foam board. And this was pretty tedious and took quite a while. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. So if you don't want to mess with this part, you could just paint the foam board and distress it so it looks like shiplap or distressed wood. Or you could do like a candy cane stripe, or I don't know, even maybe painted trees in the background, make it like a scene or a Candyland scene or something, you know, all gingerbread. I think that would be really cute. But I was glad that I took the time to trim it down. I think it looks really good. So Courtney sent us all an idea sheet for her Random Acts of Kindness challenge. And there were some really amazing ideas on here. So if you'd like a copy of this, you can scan this code thingy with your phone. Just point at it like you're going to take a picture and then tap the yellow button on your phone. And it should take you right to it. So you know how Advent calendars usually have candy or little gifts that kiddos can pull out each day of Advent. And for my original design last year, I was going to add little scrolls with scriptures like from the Nativity or whatever, and then we could read them as a family. And since the birdhouse openings are so small, that's all that would really fit in there. But since I loved Courtney's challenge ideas so much, I decided to incorporate them into this project. So I just cut out the little squares, took out all the ones that included cooking or baking, and then tied some baker's twine onto them and then tucked them inside. And I made a little loop at the other end to attach to the little perches outside. And then I added a little glittery foam star to the top of my tree, and it was done. And here it is, all finished, and I am pretty in love with how this turned out. I'm gonna have to cut off my fleshly self when I see it go, but I know it's going for a great cause. If you're still here and have watched this whole episode, I love and appreciate you more than words can say. Don't forget to check out the rest of the Mystery Box playlist. Thank you, Courtney, for including me with your Rockstar lineup. I can't wait to see what you do with the items that I sent you. Remember the reason for the season. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and remember to always be the light. Bye.